Okay, so we talked about it's important to understand who are your positive stakeholders and who are your negative stakeholders because you can then devise a strategy to leverage their interest and attitude. Okay. All right. So how do we capture stakeholder feedback and perception? First of all, we need to um, think about interviewing the stakeholders. Okay, we can think about preparing for the interview. We can think about preparing a questionnaire, survey, a facilitated discussion session. We can do it online or in person. We can decide about email campaign. We can put up a collaboration website, group chats, any advertising, posters, marketing. So that can be various touch points from where we can get the feedback, and from the feedback we can analyze who are our positive or negative stakeholders and what are their perceptions as of now for the project. Are they supportive, neutral, latent, dormant? So this is how we can use various skills. We can call all the facilitation skills that we use on the projects. We can conduct uh, brainstorming sessions and analyze those stakeholders during the session. Two important plans that we prepare as part of the stakeholder engagement. First one is the stakeholder engagement plan. So once we have identified and analyzed the stakeholders, then we will prepare our strategies towards those stakeholders. So that will be part of the engagement plan. And the communication management plan is also tightly linked with the stakeholder management plan because it will include all the guidelines that will set forth about the communication. Depending on the level of influence and attitude of the stakeholder, we will devise our communication strategy toward that stakeholder. So communication is the other area which is also planned, and communication requirements, who need to communicate what and with who and in which format, all these, and at which frequency, using what method, which technology, everything has to be planned out. Will it be a formal communication? Will it be a informal communication? So when it comes to communication methods, it can be face to face where we meet physically, or it can be virtually through MS Team, Zoom, or all the video conferencing tools that we may use, or we can pick up the phone and call them. It can be verbal. It can be through platforms, collaboration tools, social media. We can use email, fax, websites. And when we communicate, most of the communication happens through body language. In fact, 80 to 90% of the communication happens through body language. So that matters. Some people are visual learners, so we need to use whiteboards. We need to draw and tell them, involve them. So, what are the methods that you use on your projects among these various listed? Can you identify for me what are the methods that you use commonly?
Most of the time, physical is also there. But
Mm.
if all the people are available inside the office or very close to the office, so physical is most important one. Then the normal one during the working hour, we are using the email and sharing all the details by email.
Hmm.
And phone calls are also important most of the
Is
cases.
there any method which your organization does not allow?
Does not allow means sometime we are not encouraging to send the text messages or any kind of private messages
Hmm.
to any of the individual one.
So
Instead
WhatsApp,
of,
WhatsApp is not allowed, or text message is
yeah,
not allowed,
most of,
right?
because it is only between person to person.
Hmm.
So other stakeholder are not getting the idea, or other manager or other team members. So
Hmm.
most of the cases, to convey the message to all of the people, the physical, first of all physical, then the email are most important. Physical including the use of whiteboard, even I had mentioned in the last one,
Hmm.
and physical can be kind of virtual physical communication over the like Zoom meeting or maybe the team meeting. So depend,
Got
it's
it.
depend. But
Got it.
most of the cases we are not using that website, social media, text messages.
That is not included. That is not
That that is
encouraged.
not
That
being
is,
encouraged by the company
yeah,
because otherwise,
yeah. Yeah, it depends on what kind of data that you are
exactly,
communicating. So
exactly,
since you are
exactly.
communicating the financials, so it
Mhm.
definitely involves some privacy and it involves some security. Yeah, which is understandable. So when it comes to communication methods, it can be on demand. It can be a pull method when you have some SharePoint website or SharePoint folder where you put all the reports, and then based on the need of the receiver, he or she can uh, pull that communication from that SharePoint as and when needed. It can be pushed through various automated mails, or you if even if you are broadcasting any mail to for project communication, so you do it on repeated basis, so you can do it weekly status report that is pushed to all the stakeholders just at high level. So there are informations which you are sending to everybody, broadcasting that information through mail or through physical uh, face-to-face meetings, that is pushed communication. And there are information that you just store at some online place where people, depending on their need, they pull it. All right. And how agile teams communicate? Agile teams prefer face-to-face communication. That's the best way the agile teams can work. However, it can happen through virtual collaboration tools, such as we discussed about video conferencing, whiteboarding. So this is also one of the method where agile teams highly utilize, especially nowadays. It's hybrid of both. It's not always face to face and it's not always virtual. What are the communication challenges? When we communicate, there is a noise, and noise can be of various categories. It can be due to the cultural difference. It can be due to the language. It can be due to the various uh, factors. So various challenges can be there when we communicate. As you said, we are not allowed to use social media. We are not allowed to use uh, messaging. So there are certain protocols. So we need to be aware about those protocols. All the information nowadays it is passed through strict regulations as well. So we have regulatory requirements when it comes to storing, handling the customer data. There are certain considerations, GDPR, there various regulations are there, various laws are there. Okay. So we ask ourselves why. I mean, why we need to communicate. So that's very important. What is the urgency of this information and which technology we should be relying on? How frequently, I mean, how easily we can use that technology, how confidently we can use it, and then in which in language we need to communicate, what is the classification, sensitivity, and confidentiality of the information. Is it for internal use? Is it for external use? Is it classified as confidential? And various regulations that I said that uh, ensures that customer data is protected. When we communicate, there is a concept of a receiver and there is a concept of a sender of the message, transmitter. So the transmitter while transmitting, it encodes the message. So all the thoughts that are coming in our mind, we encode those thoughts using a language into words, and those words we communicate over the medium. That is a medium that we use. And once we transmit the message on the other side, the reverse happens, that the words are translated back into the thoughts. So the receiver uses the language to decode the message that we sent, and that is then translated into the thoughts. So while we transmit, there is a noise possible that can that might add because of the distance of communication, because of the other side not able to respond or receive the message, or we might be misunderstood. So the feedback is important, that you said hello, then you receive the hello. Or when you said something, you should ask that, am I understood correctly? Am I right? So once you say these kind of messages, you will receive the responses that yes, feedback will tell you, yeah, you are understood. Yes, yeah, go ahead, yeah. So this is important. So it's a two-way communication. It's not a push communication or one-way communication, is a two-way communication. But again, the both sides have some challenges. So the sender side, there is a culture, and the receiver side is a culture. Whereas the language barrier is there, whereas the gender gap is there, whereas personal bias is there, a lot of biases are there. So you need to be concerned about those biases. However, as a model, we have a transmitter, we have a receiver. Transmitting side, we encode a message using the language, thoughts into words. The other side, we decode the message, word into thoughts, and then we respond. And that feedback is important. Acknowledgement is also important. Once we send a message, the other body says response up to the message, that is acknowledgement. And then cross questioning, the receiver will ask cross question, that's a feedback message. So we will reply back with the answer. So that means the information is understood, not only received but understood and acknowledged, as well as some feedback or clarification is asked. So that means the communication actually happens. So communication means thought till the thought, the understanding in one person reach to the understanding of the other person. It's not just the exchange of the words. Okay. While we need to devise our stakeholders engagement strategy, how we can do that? We can involve the stakeholders, and we can think about getting closer to these stakeholders, depend on how we build the relationships with people by walking to them, talking to them, asking for help, going out with them, providing them the information that they need. Various strategies could be there, but we need to be first respectful. First, we need to be approachable. We need to be kind. We need to be request for the support. These are various values that we can utilize to develop the relationship. And it's not about the project work or the tasks that we need the support from these stakeholders. We should have established good relationship across all the organization in order to be influential and leading the project. So the more we have relationships, the more project person we will become. Yeah, we have seen same matrix as earlier as well. So that has the attitudes about of the stakeholders plotted against the stakeholder names. Some will be unaware, some will be resistant, some will be neutral, supportive, leading, and then you will devise, you will map their current levels with plotted as C, and then their desired level where you want them to be, where you want to see them. So then you will devise the strategies for the engagement to increase the engagement. All right. So from our exam content outline, we have seen various objectives in this lecture for today. We have seen how we can collaborate with the stakeholders, how we can engage with these stakeholders, how we can manage the communication with the stakeholders. I would say that we should stop here today. It's already 11 at your side. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's enough for